Good morning, all. Today we discuss the dynamics of pure rotation about an axis. We showed that the translational motions of a system of particle is simple to describe. If we distinguish between external forces and internal forces acting on the particle. Okay, in that case, we have this we have obtained that the external forces, only the external forces will be affect the motion of the system. Okay, the internal forces cancels by Newton's third law. Okay, and the momentum changes only because of external forces. It has been obtained from the chapter momentum. Okay, so this leads to the law of conservation of the momentum, or the momentum of an isolated system is constant. That is the conservation of linear momentum. Okay, in here we are describing the rotational cases. So in describing rotational motion, it is tempting as to follow the same procedure by distinguishing between external and internal torques. Okay, in the case of translation motion, we simply proved the internal forces cancellation of the internal forces. But in the case of rotational systems, it is not simple to prove that the internal torques cancels each other. Okay, so there is no way to prove from Newton's law that internal torques add to zero. Okay, but it is an experimental fact that internal torques always cancels because the angular momentum of isolated system has never been observed to change. Okay, because of we know that the angular momentum of an isolated system is constant always, so the internal torque must cancels each other. This is a experimental fact. Okay, and in this section we consider the fixed axis rotations. Okay, in the fixed axis rotation, there is no translation of the axis. Okay, consider the motion of a door on its hinges, or the spinning of a fan blade, the leaf of a fan. Okay, it is spinning about the center axis, isn't it? And the motion of a door. Okay, the door is rotating about its hinges. And motion like this, where there is an axis of rotation at rest, is called pure rotation. Such rotations are called pure rotations. It is because the pure rotation is important because it is simple and it is frequently encountered. Here we consider a body rotating with angular speed omega around z axis. Then what is the expression for angular momentum in terms of the moment of inertia? We know that the z component of the angular momentum is, what is the z component of the angular momentum? Angular momentum in terms of moment of inertia. We know that L is equal to I omega. Here we consider the body is rotating around z axis. Here we consider L z is equal to Lz is equal to I omega, where omega is the angular speed and I is the moment of inertia. And we know that tau is equal to dl divided by dt. Okay, tau is the torque, that is equal to dl divided by dt. Then we can write tau, that is equal to dl divided by dt. Here our case only the z component comes, so we replacing L by I omega. Okay, then that quantity is equal to what? D by dt of I omega. We know that I is a moment of inertia, it is a constant, then I take it outside. I into d omega divided by dt. Okay, d omega divided by dt. Okay, I express it as, I write here I into d omega divided by dt. I write it as it is equal to I into alpha. Okay. Here I denote d omega by dt as alpha. What is omega? Omega is the angular velocity, angular speed. Then differentiation of that quantity, time derivative of that. The rate of change of velocity is acceleration. Okay, here rate of change of angular velocity. So rate of change of angular velocity must be equal to angular acceleration. So alpha is equal to d omega by dt is called the angular acceleration. So here we obtain an expression for torque. Torque is equal to I alpha. Okay. So tau is equal to I alpha. And here there is an important point. Okay. That is, this is the expression for torque. Okay. Torque is represented as torque is equal to I alpha. Okay. Tau is the torque. There is a close analogy between linear and rotational motion. Okay. We know that for all the quantities in translation motion has a corresponding rotational analog. Okay. That is, we have discussed the moment of inertia is analogous to mass, then torque is analogous to force, angular acceleration is analogous to a linear acceleration. Okay, so in that way, we can develop an analogy by evaluating kinetic energy of a body undergoing pure rotation. Have you got the idea here? The torque is analogous to force because I write here what is the expression of force. Force is equal to m into a. What is the rotational analog of mass? It is the moment of inertia. What is the rotational analog of angular acceleration? That is, sorry, rotational analog of acceleration is angular acceleration, then I alpha. Then rotational analog of force is torque. Then we obtain torque is equal to I alpha. Okay. And in the case of momentum, we obtained P is equal to m into v. Then angular momentum is equal to, in place of m, I. It is a rotational analog. In place of v, there is omega. Okay, these are the connections. In like, so we can also write the expression for kinetic energy also, isn't it? Then what will be kinetic energy? Kinetic energy in the case of rotation case, sorry, translation case, it is equal to, kinetic energy is equal to 1 by 2 m v square. So just think, one by two, take one as 1 by 2 in the position of m. Here, look at here, position of m, there is moment of inertia, mass to moment of inertia, linear velocity to angular velocity. Kinetic energy must be equal to half I omega squared. Okay, so we have to check it, so that we write, we know that kinetic energy K is equal to summation J half mj vj square, mj vj square, and it is equal to summation half mj. We have written the connection between vj, relations connecting vj is equal to rho j. It is the perpendicular distance into omega square. Okay, then I write mj in place of vj, that is equal to rho j square into omega square. Then that is equal to what? It is equal to, here omega square is a constant, 1 by 2 also constant. What is mj summation j, this quantity? Look at here, summation j mj rho j square. It must be the moment of inertia, isn't it? So it is equal to 1 by 2 I omega square. as viscous. Okay. So this is the kinetic energy in the case of rotation. Now we consider some of the examples that is dealing with the dynamics of rotational cases. Here we consider the Atwood machine with a massive pulley. Here the mass of the pulley is MP, that is radius of the pulley is R. There are two masses M1 and M2. Okay. Here our aim is to find the acceleration for this arrangement. Okay. And here we taking the assumptions that the rope does not slip on the pulley and the effect of massive pulley is to be included. Two conditions. First, the rope does not slip on the pulley and the effect of mass, or we have to include the mass of pulley also in our discussions. Okay. Then the force diagram is shown in the sketch. Okay. In that, we also included the points on the pulley also. Okay. Here, WP is the weight of the pulley acting at the center of the pulley, and let N be the normal reaction on the pulley. Okay. Here T2 is the tension and here T1 also the tension. Okay. Then here it is mass M1. Then at this point, look at here at the point for the mass M1, W1 is the weight acting downward and tension T1 acting upward. Okay. And here on the mass M2, tension T2 acting upward and W2 acting downward. Okay. This is the case of the pulley. Here we consider three masses. First one is the pulley, and the second is M1, and third is M2. Okay. And here the pulley is fixed at the axle, so it is surely a pure rotation about its axle. So the equation of motions are, what are the equation of motions? First, if we take the mass M1, okay, mass is M1, acceleration is A, take it as A, then the equation of motion must be equal to what? The difference of this one. If we taking the upward direction as positive, downward is negative, then T1 minus W1 must be equal to, acceleration is here, it is expressed as it is labeled downward, then minus a m1. Okay. So if we find, if we expressing differently, if we taking this as positive and this as negative, only the sign changes. Okay. So here we taking W1 minus T1 is equal to M1A, multiplied both sides by a minus 1. Okay. W1 minus T1 is equal to M1A. And for the second mass, T2 minus W2 must be equal to M2A. Okay. And the next, at the next point, the third one, we have to express the torque. Torque is equal to I alpha. Okay. Torque. To obtain torque, here we choosing the center of the pulley as the origin. Then here it is, the force is T1. This is the perpendicular distance here. Then T1 into R, it is acting downward or it is clockwise. And here it is T2 and it is, and sorry, here the first case is not clockwise, it is anti-clockwise, and here it is clockwise. The second case is clockwise. Then one is negative and one is positive. We take anti-clockwise, or we write it must be equal to tau is equal to what? Tau is equal to T1R minus T2R, that is equal to I alpha. And the force on the pulley, look at here. Here, the upward direction only n, downward there are 3. Then n minus T1 minus T2 minus WP must be equal to 0 because there is no upward acceleration. Okay. So we have obtained some equations of motions, 4 equations of motions. And here we have assumed the rope does not slip. It gives you a constraint, that is, if it is not slipping, A must be equal to alpha R. Okay. Or B must be equal to omega R and A must be equal to alpha R because of the rope does not slip. Okay. And now using our equation of motions, we will eliminate T1 and T2. For that, we taking the first 2 equations. The first one is W1 minus T1 is equal to M1 A, and the second equation is we write it as T2 minus T2 minus W2 is equal to M2A. We are adding these two. We are adding these two will give you, if you are adding both sides, okay, I write W1 minus W2 minus T1 minus T2. I have put a bracket here. Actually, T2 is positive. Double minus will give you that quantity. And then this side, I write M1 plus M2 into A. Okay. And the third equation, that is in terms of the expression of tau, T1 R is equal to, sorry, T1 R the expression is T1 R minus T1 R minus T2 R is equal to what? I alpha. And we arrange it by dividing the equation by R. We will get T1 minus T2 is equal to, we divide the equation by R, then we will get I alpha by R. Okay. And we know that alpha is equal to what? Alpha is equal to A by R. Okay. Then I substitute alpha is equal to A by R. Then IA divided by R square. Okay. Then I substitute the value of T1 minus T2 here. The value of this quantity here. Then arranging the expression W1 minus W2 minus, in the place of T1 minus T2, it is I. It is IA divided by R square, that is equal to, what? That is equal to M1 plus M2 into A. So here, what is I? I is the, what is I here? I is the moment of inertia of the pulley. Okay. If the pulley is a simple uniform disk, the moment of inertia about its axis must be equal to what? I is equal to mass into radius square divided by 2, isn't it? In the case of uniform disk, the moment of inertia is equal to 1 by 2 mass into radius square. Then mp into r square divided by 2. So here we got the expression that we have got W1 minus W2 minus IA divided by R square is equal to M1 plus M2 into A. And here I substitute the value of I here, then MP R square cancels, then MP A divided by 2, that is equal to M1 plus M2 into A. Here MP into A. Our aim is to find the acceleration. So I taking the term containing acceleration to one side. So I write M1 plus M2 plus MP by 2 into A is equal to, that is equal to what? That is equal to W1 minus W2. What is W1? W1 must be equal to, what is weight? W1. It is M1 into G. So it is equal to M1 minus M2 into G. Isn't it? M1G minus M2G. I write it as M1 minus M2 into G.